That might be it.
What's going on, world? Jack of all spades, CLT, back like a name on a jersey. I am the beloved one, DJ Spellman. On my left, we have the Pride of Africa, Kenwa Bibi.
Hello, hello. Pride of Africa, Kenwa Bibi. Shout out to all the diaspora, as always. Shout out to all the diaspora.
Yes, y'all. And you don't stop. Setting it off on the right, we have the boy, Banks on the beat.
Yes, sir. Banks on the beat, Blue Water Banks. Fat Boy Tires.
3700.
Some Boulevard.
The hub.
My man.
It's so nice when we get it right on the first try. Hold tight, Jay Marlowe. Hold tight, mi hermanita Amaris. But we got Carla, big birthday, running the cameras today.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate you, sis.
Happy birthday.
And we got a special guest in the building.
Yes.
We actually got two. We're going to get to one a little bit later. But the reason why we're here, our special guest. Now let me tell you a little bit about this great individual. She's been an artist since the age of 4. Not 4, 4. West Side Charlotte native. We introduce to you all Queen G Grier. What's going on, madam?
Good afternoon.
Ready for us.
Yes.
I was at the front door.
Well, first and foremost, we appreciate you making time for us.
Yes.
And we're going to get to all your great accolades and your whole movement, but just thank you, man.
All right, now.
Low on the volume. Sensual.
Now, I'm going to start this thing out how we usually do, whether you're a first-time listener or last-time listener. This is how we get familiar. It's the flower segment. So, G, for you, artist, bartender, MC, host and creator of the Black Vibrations podcast, master of the theater, good vibe provider, singer, actress, also featured in Shout Out ATL, Voyage ATL, and LA. CLT is creative and Pitch It series. You got to talk to us. Tell us what you're about.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, like it's the research for me.
Big up Joe Goldberg in the research team.
Yes, big research. No, I mean, wow, y'all said it all. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it's been. It's not about me. It's about my heritage. It's about the community. It's about the West. You know, it's about the city of Charlotte for sure. But shout out to the West, man. Like exit 35, for real.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I know the answer already, but our past 3 guests have all been from the west side of Charlotte.
That is
right.
So big up the West.
Yes,
Big up the West.
Big up to the West. Like it's none other. Like for real. I mean, no disrespect to the East, the South, the North, but when you're like a homegrown, like West Side native, like it's nothing that can compare to that. Like it's like, you know, I always say it on my show. It's like we've had that same experience. Like you went to that same YMCA and ate that same sandwich after the pool. Like it's that we did that together. Like and nobody could take that from us. So it's like, yeah, shout out to the West.
Shout out to the West.
And a lot of diversity in the flower segment we just gave you, like artist, bartender. Like I want to know a little bit about all these, like an artist, a bartender, an MC, like the master of theater, like that.
The theater.
Yeah, shout out to Shakespeare. Nah, but no, I mean, okay, so I'm a talker clearly, and you know, I was talking to somebody about this recently too. I was looking actually because shout out to Sharice. She was talking about like a report card being a part of, you know.
Ephemera.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, because I couldn't say it.
I've been practicing.
Okay, yeah.
I feel that.
Yes. Can use it in a sentence. But no. But the report card, I found it, and it had all the good grades. Because, you know, growing up, like, great household. Shout out to my parents, you know.
Shout out.
And I had the great grades. But those comments, student is always excessively talking. Student is always talking in class. Student is, and it was always like, Regina, you can't be quiet. Like, what's going on? I always wanted to like jibber jabber and just have conversation and just speak with people and just learn about what's going on. And I just had to know everything. And so it started real early because it's like, well, since you want to talk, let's see if you can do this, or let's see if you can do that type of craft. And I dabbled in different things, and I know what I'm great at. I know what I'm good at, and I know what, to stay away from. That's what's not my lane. And so I think that's what's really helped me from the start. You know, I was in the Children's Theater summer program, and you know, I got the opportunity to go to Northwest School of the Arts and really study my craft and really learn what I like. And that's where I did a bunch of things, like a host of things. I did technical theater, I did musical theater, I did, you know, the straight theater, as you guys would say. And from there, like, I always knew that I was an orator. Like, no doubt about it. Like, I can't shut up. Like, I just can't. So, you know, that happened, and, you know, I've done a lot of other things, but the bartending, that you know, shout out to the TBV tonic, because without the tonic, like, there would have been no, like, you know, I had the 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody was like, "Is there gonna be any drinks? Is there gonna be drinks?" I was like, "Oh, I gotta make some drinks real quick." I made a couple drinks. Everybody was like, "Oh, them drinks good." I was like, "Oh, for real? Let me make some more drinks." And so then I was like, okay, let me learn to really, like, do this and really, like, become more than a mixologist, or become more than, let me make this like a standard craft as well and take it more serious, because other people are taking it serious for me. So that's kind of how that came into play. But yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like how you just, you know, you pick up your craft and you want to, instead of just keeping it on the surface level, you delve deep and try to learn about it and, you know, I don't say curate it, but not formulate it either. I can't find the word, but you want to grow it. I like that. Cultivate. There we go. There we go.
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary.
I also want to say it speaks to who you are when you're talking about, like, even as small as the bartending, you say, yeah, I got these people that pushed me to do it, or, like, was excited about me doing it, so that made me want to do it more, or like recognizing that everybody isn't able to do that. So, you know, shout out to you for that.
No. Wow. Okay. Shout out to me. It's always me doing this to everyone else.
Well, now we definitely want to big you up for being a part of the Charlotte Black podcast family. You probably got one of the best taglines with a podcast featuring Black excellence. What was your reasoning behind creating that platform, that important platform?
Yeah. So again, I studied at Northwest, and then I went, you know, to undergrad in Greensboro, and that's where I got, you know, my degree there in theater and technical theater, and, you know, learned more on the sophisticated side, or honestly, like the opposition of what I had already been taught here. So once I returned, the whole infrastructure of Charlotte was completely different during that time I was going on the creative scene by far. Yeah. So for a long time, I just got in the hustle and bustle of corporate. Like, I went to work, did what I was supposed to do, followed the rules, you know, good citizen, upstanding, law by, you know, righteous life, whatever. Yeah. And, you know, somebody asked me, we'll get into them later, I guess, but they asked me, what would you do if money wasn't a factor? Like, what would you do? And I was like, I would talk to people. Like, I would just talk to people. Like, you know, like I said, like, never could shut up. So I was like, oh my goodness, like, I really want to do something where I'm talking to people that has meaning. I want to do something where I'm talking to people that has value, that's going to enrich some people's lives, not only for myself, but for the community. Because again, I remember being that west side of Charlotte girl, having to catch the bus all the way to Maginot to record, you know, and like talking to people and really like getting it out the mud for my craft. Like, even though I went to a school that had some resources, we didn't have everything. And so I was like, I want to do this for people that look like me, that haven't taken that leap, or they haven't really decided anything. They haven't really figured it out. So that's how it happened. You know, I really didn't figure out a name for the show. I didn't really talk to many people about it. I just gathered my few folks from my tribe, and I was like, look, I think I'm about to do this. Like, we're in the middle of the panty. Like, let's get it. And they was like, okay, girl. And, you know, I describe it very much like a roller coaster. I got on the roller coaster, and I was like, okay, I'm on Top Gun. Like, I'm at the, you know, I'm doing good. Or no, Thunder Road, so to say. Rest in peace to Thunder Road.
Rest in peace.
You ain't from Charlotte, you know about Thunder Road. Rest in peace. But anyway, you know, I'm like, okay, Thunder Road. And then I'm on there. And that shit go up, and then you go down, and when that whole go backwards, I was like, oh my gosh, like, the show is here. And I had content.
Yeah.
And I kept making content. And now I have a lot of content. So
consistency.
Yeah.
That consistency. Now, who created your dope logo?
So I will never take credit for my logo. Like I said, when I started everything, I knew I wanted to be very business oriented and structured. So from day one, I knew what to do as far as like the protocols of my business with my team. So I did outsource my logo. Shout out to Alton P from Pecos and Company, and he's definitely Black owned as well. I try to do. I don't try, actually. I do. I frequent African-American business. I think it's so important to circulate the Black dollar, so that's kind of where a lot of my things originate from.
And I got to big you up on that because, of course, when you record, my episode featuring me, you had that in the Black-owned spot.
I did.
And I was like, yo, that was dope as hell.
And like I told you, the whole 9 yards, and then we walked in and the owner was there. I was like, see, I didn't lie. Like, I told you the truth. Like, but yeah, like that's very important to me. If I can spare a dollar to give it to somebody that is, somebody that looks like me, I'm definitely going to do it if I believe in their vision. Like, shout out to so many artists. I've definitely put bread in people's pockets, not because I have to, but because I believe in their mission, just like they believe in the Black vibration. So people putting bread in my pocket as well. They're doing things for me because they believe in my mission as well. So thank you.
Black excellence right there. That's what
Black
it sounds
excellence.
like.
For sure. So y'all started off covering pop-up events. How did those experiences go, and like how did y'all get to where y'all got now? Like, tell us about the growth in that.
Yeah, go back to that Thunder Road. So that was the backwards part. So we actually recorded a few episodes with people that I had like drafted. I was like, please, can you like be on my show? Like, they was like, yeah, girl, like, yeah, of course, like, And so we released a lot of episodes with them at first, and then shout out to Paige from NC on Scene. She like gave me my first shot at the pop-up scene, and it got crazy volatile after that. Like, we went, and I was like, okay, I want to cover a few people. Like, is it cool if I, come to the pop-up and set everything up? She's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. And, put me in the group chat with everybody. And then I'm like, who wants to be interviewed? Me. This is like during the pandemic. People really ain't going outside. This is like probably like the first social gathering in like 6 to 8 months people have incurred. So, everybody is like either become an entrepreneur at this point during the pandemic, or they have already been an entrepreneur and they're either relaunching, rebranding, or they're established and they still are just out here. And so I'm like, okay, great. I got a lot to work with. And so then I was like, what do I do? I was like, what do I do? And, went back to my team. Shout out to my executive producer, Manny Stacks.
Shout out Manny. Manny Mondays.
Yes, big Manny. Yes, shout out to him. Shout out to my production assistants, D. Shout out to Taj Amir, my sound producer, like my team. Shout out to my tribe. Shout out to anybody. But anyway, I have to, because again, it's not about me. It's about everybody else. But they really helped me figure out the components to like make this mobile. So we got everything together, and we did the interviews, and we did like, I want to say anywhere between like a dozen to 15 interviews in like 3.5 to 4 hours at that pop-up. And after that, she had another pop-up. I was like, can I come back? She's like, for sure.
Yeah.
And after that, like, I started getting invited to like bigger events. Like, shout out to Al Bowman from the Affiliated Apparel Boutique. He had an affiliated weekend, and we were like the media coverage for that whole weekend. And he really did some big things, and he introduced us to a lot of people that we've had on our show. So it always come back full circle. Like I always say, it's about, just really being in the right rooms and knowing the right people and really expecting yourself and putting yourself on that platform to have those conversations, because how are you supposed to know what somebody else is about if they're not talking?
Exactly.
And again, that goes back to my childhood. That's why I was like, what do you do? Like, I'm a second grader. Okay, we'll talk about that. Like, so.
So another thing that we love about TBV, let me get it right, is y'all show all people that other people are just not stars and celebrities doing what they love, but everyday people are shaping their futures in their creative ways. So speak on that.
Yeah, I will speak on that.
Thank you.
No, I will. That's what it goes back to, like what I was saying, like people that look like us all the time are scared to really take that leap, or they're not comfortable enough to really feel themselves in their own skin. And I've struggled with that. I've been a creative all this time, but I've had times where I didn't feel like I was myself. And that's kind of where it gets, again, tricky. And so this platform is to be that safe place, that safe haven to let people know it's okay to want to try something different. And if you don't fancy it, it's okay to try something else. Like, I believe I'm a multidisciplinary artist. You know, I don't limit myself to being just, you know, orator. Like, I can't draw, I can tell you that, but I bet you guys didn't know I was a playwright or a director or, you know, all these other great things of the master of the theater, you know. And so I tell people that look like me all the time, like, to just keep going. So that's why, you know, that's the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We fuck with it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Anybody in this podcast ecosystem knows the challenges behind putting great content out consistently. We talked about content earlier in the podcast. What are some of your struggles that you have putting out consistent great content with TBV?
Well, I would say the struggle is really just finding your lane, and that's with not TBV, that's with any podcast, because the way I might produce my content may not work for the, you know, the business model you guys have, or the business model that someone else that's really great out here may have. And so really working with your team and establishing and elaborating on those types of details, were not a struggle, but it was an opportunity, so to say, initially, because, you know, we're already, you know, starting our 4th season soon, and we definitely have grown and improved since the 1st season when we didn't have as many resources, or, you know, it was the stay-at-home order. So now we can do a little bit more. We know what we want to do more to achieve. So it's just about having those conversations and really getting to communicate that understanding of what's going to work for your business. So
now, do you have a goal of how many pieces of content you want to release in the course of a day, or is it just like, hey, we have something, let's put it out? Or what is your formula? Yeah,
so my formula is simple. It's not my formula. It's Manny's formula.
What is Manny's formula?
Yes. So again, like, shout out to Manny. Like, he's my content. Like, I might tell him, like, oh, I want to do this. Like, we all have our own, you know, Manny has Manny Mondays. You know, I have self-care Saturdays with G. We have Tajamir Tuesdays. So everybody has something in their lane that they can provide at any given time to the people. But we also are in the middle of our 3rd season run, so we are not promoting ourselves because we're promoting others. So it gets back to that selflessness and really not thinking about yourself, because that's not what my platform is for. It's for Black excellence. And of course, we know who I am. We know who Taj is. We know who Manny is, because you hear us on the show. Yeah. But who is Sonny Connor? Who is, you know, Makeda Iroquois? Who is, you know,
shout out.
Yeah, big shout out to the Red Fox, because she was on the Black Vibrations, and she was at 4321. But anyway, yeah, so it just goes back to what I'm saying though, like, who are they? You know, we'll get to me, like you said, we'll get to me when it's time, because I've always been about putting things to the forefront. That's why I think I loved being like a technician for like technical theater and stuff, because I like everybody else to shine, you know. Like, shout out to Roddy Rich. I'm a star just sitting in the low light. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I already know who I am. You know who I am too. So let's just promote everybody else.
Man, bars.
We need that. I'm going to say this. Yeah. We need that more. Oh, almost knocked that over. In our culture. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to have the shine. I can put other people on, and it brings me up as well, because that's y'all my peoples. Yeah. So we grow together. So, blessings.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Before I go into, go ahead.
One more question.
That sounds like the ad.
And it do.
We gotta pay some bills.
Yes.
Oh shit. So is it safe to say that Manny's the one who actually controlled the social media?
Yes, it's a collaborative effort. Okay. But yes, shout out to Never Ending Sitcom. That's Manny's digital marketing agency. So
okay, he actually,
he's my producer, and he's like family, but more importantly, like, he has his own agency as well. So I will never take like that part of what he does for me as like a TBV thing. That's definitely a Never Ending Sitcom thing. But what he does as my executive producer is, you know, he makes sure shit straight.
The train keep rolling.
For sure. Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so I got to take us into the dark for a second, right?
Oh.
Okay.
So you've been giving us a lot of information, and I think anybody that's listening that's even trying to get into the podcast space, business period, you've given us a lot, and for somebody to be able to go off of. Can you talk about like the moments where you might have been frustrated at some point, or you thought about giving up or quitting, like, and how that road led you back to where you still are now?
Yeah, I can kind of like let you guys know what that looks like, because for me, I really do aim to focus on what the solution versus the problem. So when I face adversity, again, I have such a great team and a support system. So my tribe, like I say all the time, they handle that. Like, my demise is really never frequent because solutions are always there. We always have like solution oriented solutions. Like, I don't think I have had a lot of, loss and, dark things in my life that have occurred, but I don't focus on those because there's so much more light to look forward to. There's so much more, sunshine and brightness to focus on. So when you chase that and you're chasing purpose and you're chasing all of those things that high vibration energy, darkness is really a figment of your imagination at the end of the day. Like, it really is only temporary. So when it does speak to me, I am very much aware of it. And, it's not to say you don't give it its time, because you do process things. You do have those. That's a part of being a human. But you definitely don't receive that. And you don't take it and internalize it. You hear it for what it is, know that's a part of the process, and you keep shaking for the best.
Amen.
Oh, amen.
Message.
Amen. For real. Now, on the other side, we got to talk about your merch. This is an area we trying to get into ourselves and pick it up a little bit. So
we're gonna be picking your brain.
Okay, y'all can get about no gatekeeper.
So we want to hear a little bit about like your branding, and also when the TBV rain jacket's coming back.
Oh, well, the exclusive merch. No. Well, we do some exclusive merch periodically throughout the year, and that's just because, like I said, the people that support us, if you really, if you fuck with us, when you fucking with us, you're going to fuck with it, pretty much. So if you have that piece, then we know you was fucking with us during that particular time, and if you don't, we have more on the way. But
Please let us know.
And I will. We can. I can work something out with y'all. But yeah, so that just really came with, again, me speaking things into existence, subconsciously just achieving goals. So I think I actually mentioned this on my show recently. Last year, I made a list of what I wanted to achieve for the year for the podcast on a sticky note. I wrote it down, put it in my planner, and closed that planner, and probably did other things within the planner throughout the year, but never went back to look at that sticky note. So it's towards the end of the year again, and I pulled the sticky note out, and I've done literally not even almost every single thing that was on the sticky note, and merch store was on there. And again, I subconsciously just do stuff, not because I'm out here trying to be more active than anybody else, but because I know what I see for myself and what a good business model and good business venture looks like for myself. It goes back to, I forgot who said it, but I think a man here in the west side of Charlotte, shout out to who this man is. He said, if you can't find work, you create work for yourself. So it's like, okay, if I can't find anybody that's going to do this for me, I'm going to activate and do it for myself. And that's just how I would. Yes.
It's a bar.
I'm going to power up. I'm going to charge up and just do it. Yeah. So again, I told Manny, I was like, in touch. I was like, I want to make a e-store. He was like, okay, with what? And I was like, us, like our stuff. And we did some design. I called myself an assistant designer on that, because Manny helped again with a lot of great stuff with that. And Taj gave input too, so we had value. And we figured out a good way to launch that and make that a successful business venture, because again, at this point, my podcast is a part of my multifaceted company, and so now my merch store is also a part of that. My TBV tonic line is a part of that. Like you said earlier, Ken, making the effort to really cultivate what I want to do and intentionally making it a part of what I'm doing is what it's always been about and what it's always going to be about for me. So that's how that, if that answers your question.
For sure.
Before you get to that, just hearing you talk so business minded, we got to take care of our own. LLC in order, trademarks, copyrights, everything good?
Oh, yeah. You can go
Okay.
ahead and run me back on the Secretary of
Good.
State because the state of North Carolina knows I'm good for business. I'm good for everything. That's why I did take the time to get certified for my bartending. And I do know the proper, retail, licensures and things to resell alcohol if I do want to go places and do those things. I also do know, to make sure that you upkeep maintenance on websites and stuff. And that's something I want to say, too, to people. Guys, if you're going to do business, please have a website. Please have some of these things in order that can really establish yourself because that builds credibility.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, if you're grassroots, that's what you have to do is establish credibility to have people believe in you. I mean, it's good to have that support, but support isn't all that, That's not all that gets you where you got to go. I can tell you that.
I'm glad you said that because somebody needed to hear that.
Yeah,
That's
they
definitely true.
did. Thank you.
Okay. So 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Dup and SWAT.
Big Dup and SWAT.
Shout out.
Big Dup and SWAT.
Yes.
4 musical performances, 3 podcasts. We appreciate you having us, of course.
Definitely.
2 live interviews, 1 visual artist. Speak on putting that event together. I mean, it happened.
Yeah, it goes back. It goes
Y'all
back.
did that.
Thank you. No,
Roller
thank
coaster.
you. Yeah, every single time. I swear, if anybody ever asks me, what does this look like every day? I kid you not. It's Thunder Road, forwards and backwards on Halloween night at Scarewinds. So.
You got on and you got off. Right?
Okay, and survived every single time. But no, it's just, okay, again, it's me having visions. It's me being an orator, me having these ideas, and me talking to my team. And then okay, girl, let's do it. So I was like, I want to throw an event. I was like, okay, I've been, again, shout out to Northwest School of Art. So I've been, in theater and then seen the dance kids hang out with the art kids that also mesh out and, kick it with the musicians. So I was like, let me find a way to kind of bring that kind of sort of back and figure out a good way to make sure it's cohesively thought out. So I was okay, I'm a numbers girl, little Miss Angel numbers. So I'm okay. So then, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of this stuff. I was like, okay, dang, we're gonna go with that. 4, 3, 2, 1 with TBV. And then I was like, what is it gonna really have consistency of and baseline of? Because again, you can have a great name, but if there's no purpose, then again, why are we doing it? Exactly. So I figured out a way to structure, and it'll always be different based off of how we, curate the event. But, I figured out for that particular inaugural night that we would, have it that way so we could showcase and really display people, have vendors in the building, really not make it labeled like a pop-up, but really just make it something fun. And that's really what it was about. I mean, again, like I tell y'all, I'm a super fan of y'all. So I was like, can y'all please come to 4, 3, 2, 1? He was like, yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, it was a relief for me to be a part of this event. It was an honor for me to see people in this room that I've connected with or I've came across or just networked with or hadn't even met. Honestly, some people I was like, hey, because I slide in the DM. Hey. This is me. This is my show. This is what I do. I'm not scared to talk to anybody. If you're going to say yes or you're going to say no.
Exactly.
And people really did become receptive to it. And after having that audience and really networking and just, really building that, I was like, let's do it again. And we did. And, we're going to keep doing it. We have a lot of things on the way where that's going to be incorporated. And I really feel like that's a flagship staple event and that it really is needed in the community. Because once again, I remember not having those resources and not having those opportunities. And all we had was what we had. And we used to make shit shake. For real.
Now, I got to commend you for your inaugural 4, 3, 2, 1 with TBV. Because you worked the room great, high energy, make sure everybody was touched. Y'all doing good. Ty's doing this thing with the raffle. It was a great put together. I appreciate that.
No, thank you.
I appreciate that.
No, thank y'all so much for being there. Again, like I said, y'all have been the trailblazer on a lot of these things that.
Sheesh, I don't
No. I'm gonna give y'all flowers briefly because again, it's a lot. Like I said, it's not about me all the time. And so with that being said, y'all have trailblazed a lot of things and opened my eyes up and my team's eyes up to a lot of things that we weren't exposed to on the podcast scene. So, shout out to y'all. Big ups to y'all. I'm bigging y'all up on that because that's why I had to make sure that it was up to par. And I'm intentional with making sure things are up to par. Very much like when we did the show, right? Yeah. Like you said, red carpet treatment. You know, we getting Steak and Lobster. You know, it's on TBV. You know, we got it. So it's definitely one of those things where when I do what I do, it's with purpose, it's with intention, it's to really give that intangible feeling, you know, for sure.
Well, I want to go back to a Facebook post you posted up.
Uh-oh.
Ain't nothing crazy.
I don't know why people always get scared when we bring up the old
ain't
past,
nothing
the
You
old
know what the
post.
Facebook memories do when you see it now?
Right.
Like, what?
It's the writing ebonics.
Well, now you had this quote here. You said, "Growth is often mistaken for acting funny." Can you speak on that?
Yeah, I can speak on that. I mean, because, you know, there's been a lot of things in my life that have occurred where, you know, you have to separate yourself to conduct yourself accordingly. And people do mistaken that for a different energy that you're not trying to interpret. You're not trying to relay that. But if it's projected on them and that's how they feel, it's not your job to magnify that or change it either. So a lot of that has been within just understanding that everybody can't go with you. Even if you would love them to, you know, I've learned recently too that a lot of times it doesn't matter how long you've known somebody. It doesn't matter how great, you know, you go back, all of those things. Growth doesn't have an age. If it did, then a lot of us are infants, you know. So
Message.
Run that back.
Reload it.
Yeah,
Run
it's
that
the
back.
truth.
Put that instrumental on.
Yeah, it's the truth. No, and it's not to be shady. It's really because, I mean, again, I'm not old yet. So, you know, I know that I have growing to do. And so I don't want to take it personal. You know, that's one of the 4 agreements, not taking it personal. So when, you know, things aren't going the way that I suppose they should go, I have to understand that it's not a no, it's just a not right now. And people don't get that. They don't resonate with that. And so that's where they're like, oh, you're changing up, or that's the switch, or, you know, people, you know, whatever, you know, whatever they say these days.
Yeah.
So, you know, the people.
And I wonder why that's. I mean, I can't really speak to anybody else's culture because, you know, I haven't been anything else but black and African. I'm black. So
Big
so,
black.
Both Sangonini.
You got it right.
Yeah, man.
But I wonder why that's a thing. It's a constant thing in our culture where it's like, hey, you're trying to grow. People always find that as acting funny or
It's
or
that
certain
Latin
kind of,
that lack mentality. Like you feel like you're losing if you're not as present around somebody that you're accustomed to being present around.
Okay.
You're feeling like you're being lacked, or you're not absorbing as much from whatever that person is. That's what that is. Absolutely.
Well, community, you heard that, man. Message to the community. I do that every time. Message to the community. Growth is a part of life. It happens. You know, deal with it.
It was PBS, and then you took it somewhere else. Like, the more you know, now it's like, fuck y'all niggas.
Yeah, like, all right.
Not that kind of way. I'm just saying. Growth is a
But
part
real
of life.
talk. That's it. But we gonna pin it right there. But that's real talk. We can have a whole podcast.
We'll
just
talk about that offline.
Please.
Yes.
All right. So we have family ties. So we need to know, what is your connection to the Pride of Africa's brother? So big up Sesko.
Sesko.
Yes, yes. No, he was a part of the journey. Like I said, I was getting ready to actually go to undergrad, and I met him through some mutual friends. And shout out to What Is Relaxed, Josh Henderson too.
What up, Josh?
They
What
were
up, Josh?
collabing big. They were
Good
collabing
guy.
big time out. You know, like almost a decade ago. Like,
Exactly.
And I was there. I was definitely at those art shows. I was definitely on the scene. Tony P. the Phase guy was out there performing.
Phase
Like,
guy.
yeah,
And
like
he's still performing.
brother.
Yeah, and
That guy's
yeah.
consistent.
We got to get him on the podcast,
Yeah.
too, man. We
Yeah.
forget about you, boy.
yeah.
Forgive us, Face God.
Well, I'm not gonna plug mine in. He on season 2 for the Black Vibration.
Hey.
So he's actually my
We gotta
season
catch up.
finale. So you really need to tune into that. And that's on
There you
Anchor.
go.
Yeah, gotta plug mine in real quick. But but like that's where it started. And again, like I said, right when I was getting ready to leave to go to undergrad and came back, the infrastructure of Charlotte was completely different. And so, you know, I had no clue about some of the things that I thought I knew. And that's actually when I actually felt like I was a transplant. I didn't even know my own city. And I didn't like that. That made me mad uncomfortable. And so now to be able to be in a space where I feel like I know my city, I'm a little bit more grounded, and it's okay if I don't know everything about my city. That's where, you know, I feel like creatives need to rest in that peace, because a lot of time they go back to that crab in the barrel situation. You're trying to pull somebody down because you didn't know all of the resources, or you got to do the work.
Man, say that.
Yeah.
And you do the work. I remember the last time we seen you, me and DJ. What was that event? I can't remember the name.
Creative Mornings. Shout
Creative
out to
Mornings. You was out there doing your thing.
Yeah.
You do the work.
Yeah.
You don't just talk it, you actually walk it. And I like that.
Walk it like I talk it.
All right, so like I said in the intro, we got two special guests today. So
Yes.
big up Ty Jameer.
Big
So
up.
he's in the building,
In the building.
part of TBV, but he is actually your boyfriend.
Hey.
So talk about working with your significant other, your person in this creative space.
Yeah, that's so funny that y'all ask about him, because he's literally like the best. He's really everything.
With him cheesing in the back. I wish we had the camera on him right now.
Flowers, Ken.
Right.
Get your flowers, Ken.
It's the bloopers. No, but he's really the best, and he helps me with a lot of things, you know. I see our dynamic being so effective with the business because we do what works for us. You know, like I said, I know how to do sound engineering and, you know, lighting design, but I would rather specialize in talking and giving that light and that capacity to somebody else. And he takes it and he runs with it and he thrives with it. So being a boo in business is, as I would call it,
Boo in business.
big boo in
Like it.
business.
Trademark that joint.
Triple B.
I know. If I find out that somebody took that, we gonna talk. But no, like the booze in business, like it's really a dynamic that I feel like has worked for us, because we were already doing a lot of this stuff before it became official. We was already talking about a lot of these things before it was in fruition. It was in the making. It was in the works. You know, we are big on being intentional with our words. So a lot of the stuff we talk about, we look back at it and it's like, wow, we really did talk about that time, you know, at that place when we was doing that. And I'm like, yeah, we did. Or I'm the one that's more shocked and he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I told you. So, you know, it's magnificent. You know, I respect his artistry, because again, before we were even like doing the podcast, I was helping him with his projects. You know, he has music out, he has projects out, he's produced, recorded. He's magnificent, you know, the magnificent Taj. So yeah, it's perfect. It's like none other.
That's
And
great.
big up Black Love.
Black
Yeah.
Love.
Come
Yeah,
on
got
now.
warm in
Yeah.
here, man.
Yeah. It's the praying hand. My love. It's the my love for me.
Love it. We love it here. We love it here.
Now, one of y'all biggest goals is getting TBV on a Charlotte billboard.
Yeah.
When that happens, we're going to put that in fruition. When
Yes.
that happens, what would that mean to y'all?
Well, where it needs to be at when it happens is on the west side of Charlotte.
I'm just gonna say the West Side.
That's my soil. Like I don't know if I told you guys this, but the reason I really started the podcast outside of Taj was I did my ancestry and figured like my family like really resided on the west side of Charlotte from like the early 1800s. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm like big west side. So anybody else, like that's cool, but you gotta do your research on your hair. Like that's why I say go back to the heritage for me. But it needs to be on the west side of Charlotte, and when it happens, for me, it'll mean that I've made a lot of my ancestors proud, because now we're publicizing the product of the environment. And for others, I'm sure it'll represent a lot of rites of passage and lots of opportunity for people that look like me to excel in being a broadcaster, being a vocalist, being an entrepreneur creative, being an orator, being a storyteller, and being proud of that. Because I remember there was a time, like I said, people thought me being open and talking and loud was obnoxious. It's my job now. So, you know.
Maximize it.
Yeah.
Maximize.
I'm going to flex that muscle like we in LA Fitness every single time.
Now, I got two things to say before that. First thing, everybody knows I'm going to always say it. I'm an educator. So I resonate with that, because when kids are getting sent out because they talk too much, you know, the system or other cultures may think talking is a negative thing. But like you said, we come from a culture of orators.
Yeah.
It was passed down through speaking to the next generation, to the youth. So keep doing your fucking thing. Big up all the kids that get sent out of class because you know when you come see me, I ain't mad at you.
Right. It's
'Cause
the
that's what you're supposed
ISS
to
for
do.
me.
It's what
Right.
you're supposed to do. But then you said to your soil, and I thought about E40, so big up 40 water, and he always talk about being loyal to his soil, and that just made me think about that when you said that. So big up the West Side, but then from the 1800s, like you really from Charlotte. Like some people might be from Charlotte, like first generation.
Yeah.
You really from Charlotte.
No cap in my rap, like I put the city on my back for real because when I really did the research, that's when I knew that there was something that was more to me than what I was already doing. And then when the podcast happened, it was like, okay, that's what it is. And now I look at all of it, I'm like, yeah, they're proud.
Yeah, that's big time.
Yeah.
All right, so
Question.
go ahead.
So from the West Side, Charlotte, you went to West Mech?
No, Northwest
Charlotte?
School of Arts.
Oh shit, I'm tripping.
Right on the Ford. What you talking about, boy?
I just said Northwest School of Arts, right?
Yeah, a million and one times.
So let's get the rundown though. So elementary school.
Elementary school.
Okay, so I'm real West Side. I'm gonna tell y'all all of it
Let's
because
go.
I'm really from Charlotte.
Let's
so
go.
I started out at Bruns Avenue Elementary, then I went to Thomasboro Elementary.
Okay.
Yes, shout out to my 4th and 5th grade teacher, Miss Turman.
Man, big up the educator.
Yes.
School starts on Monday.
Yeah,
Get ready.
For sure, for sure. Then I went to SPA before they closed
Okay.
for a little bit, and then I went to Northwest, and that's where I graduated from. Yeah, I went to Northwest from 8th through 12th grade. I won't tell y'all my age, but I'm an adult.
I'm sure you're younger than us. We
Yeah.
look good. You know, we don't black don't crack, but we old out here.
That's
we
right.
veterans. Not matter of fact, we ain't old. We veterans out here.
Yeah, no, but
Well seasoned.
yes. So I definitely, like I said, I did it here, and what I do is for the people that, like I said, look like me that didn't have the resources and didn't have the means. We're gonna do it for them, and we're gonna keep doing it.
Right. Show you right. All right. So, G, the most popular segment of Jack of All Spades Nation. We like to call it Top 5 Dead or Alive. Shout out God MC, Jada Kiss. So, in one of your IG stories, it said your life is about constant rebirths. And I'm big on that renaissance, just that meaning of it. So what's your top 5 pieces of advice for anybody trying to grow to a different level?
Just 5? I'm just joking.
Just top 5? What we call it top 5?
Okay, for sure. So the first one I would say would be always be yourself. Like, that's always going to get you further than trying to be somebody else. Like, you know, my mom always used to tell me you're cut from a different cloth. So I had to really live up to that because, you know how you try to be like people sometimes. You can't do that. No, it's lame. And the second one would be to really always educate yourself. Like, do your research. The way you learn is whatever you can do it, you know, traditionally, go to school, whatever. You can learn it from the streets, you know, within.
It's still education.
Yes, you can go and do it off YouTube University, Google University. Always educate yourself because that's what's going to make you more aware of things. I also would say lead with love.
Big up Ohavia.
Big up Ohavia.
Yeah, I lead my life with love because of a lot of people, and I love what I do because I put my heart into what I'm doing. So always make sure when you're doing stuff like that intention is there, because if it's for anything other than that, the result will show. I promise you. Somebody will call you cap. Number 4 is surround yourself by a good tribe. You know, Ohavia said, because she's on my show too. Shout out to Ohavia too. She said she doesn't have a circle, she has a polka dot. So, you know, I have a tribe. You know, my people are who they are, they know who they are, and I could call on any one of them on any given Sunday, and it's going to be taken care of. So surround yourself by people that you really know and truly believe are going to, like, have your best interest at heart, regardless of anything. That was 4, right?
That was
Yes,
4.
4.
Okay, I got one more.
Yeah.
Come with it.
Let me feel you. Do it scared. Whatever it is. You know, like I said, my show is about people to take that leap, to do it, you know, not when the money look good or when the budget's right or when, you know, my sister graduate college or, you know, whatever. It's to do it when it's time. Because I'm going to tell you something now. If you don't do it when it's time, something's going to happen to force you to do it anyway. And you might not like it that way when you do it. Not saying it won't work for you in your favor in the long run, but if you go ahead and just go ahead and skip that nasty step right there, you'll find yourself in a whirlwind of a lot more energy that'll push you towards striving for that. Like I said, you'll be able to chase your purpose when you stop fighting it. A lot of times I fought it, you know. I didn't. I'm not ready. They might not like when I talk, you know. And it happened. And you know what? I don't care anymore. You know, because somebody out there really needed that. And they didn't even probably need me to speak. They needed the person I had on my show to speak. You get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
So, yeah.
Damn. Jack of all Spades Nation.
She been spitting bars all day.
Yo, powerful top 5 in it. Powerful top 5. Yeah. All right, so Queen G, we need you to shout out all the socials where they can tap in with you and the whole TBV movement.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. So you can just go really to our Instagram at TBV_pod and click our link in the bio. And then it has everything on it. We also have a website, theblackvibrations.com. You can also find me on Instagram at _thegirlg, G-I. Just, you know, G-I. I'm not just one G, I'm G-I. And, yeah. Oh, and you can shop at the store at theblackvibrations.store.
Well, you got to wait for them rain jackets because them shit's fire.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Come on now.
Yeah. So, we'll talk offline because I got y'all, but
Oh,
because we partner with Champion on them, you know, shameless plug. So,
yeah.
but you know, everybody else,
Big sponsors in there.
yeah, just wait on it.
Hold on, let me back up though. So G,
Yeah.
what is that? Is that just
Regina.
G? Or is that short for?
Regina.
Yes, so it's short for Regina, and Regina means
Regina.
queen. Yes,
Hey,
it
it works
does.
both ways.
Yes,
Queen G, Regina. Okay,
yes.
cool.
So, and then back in the day, everyone used to call me Jeannie. You know, I can't explain. I had all these names, and so G is just the short and sweetest way to talk to me at this
That's
point.
the rite of passage. Nicknames in the black culture, people.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, not the
Yeah,
black
for
culture
real.
is
Yeah.
the rite of passage.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Passage.
Message to the community.
Message to the community.
Well, Nation, you know where you can find G in the movement, but you know where you can find us, Anchor.fm for all the streaming platforms that include Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We are now on Audible. Well, not say we are now, but we've been on Audible, so you can find us there as well. Carla, once again, birthday girl, thank you for the visuals
Happy
that can be
birthday.
found on YouTube.
Happy rotation.
But as always, I am the beloved one.
It is IYBB. Shout out to all the diaspora.
Banks, Blue Water, Fat Boy Tires.
Queen G. Any parting words to the nation?
Yes.
Some vocals, maybe?
Uh-oh. Let's go.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh.
Happy birthday to you. We done. Okay.
That's the sample size.
Yes. We're going to big sample that because my man got to record me, y'all know.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. But Nation, you know how we close this thing out. One time for A Tribe Called Quest. Rest in peace, Fife Dog, a.k.a. Malik Taylor. Tell your mother, tell your father, send a telegram. Send a telegram, and we out.
We're done. It's the true lease.
I